Good day, guys. Welcome to the channel of SA Accounting Network. In today's video, I want to chat quickly about all the December questions that you guys have. And yeah, there was a couple of interesting questions. And I think just before we start, I just want to wish everybody a prosperous new year for this year. Hope you guys go make a lot of money this year. Now, it's always lovely just to touch base. Obviously, December, I saw that there wasn't as many comments as what there normally was. But it's cool. Yeah, let's quickly run through the questions and see how I can answer your questions for you. So I think where we stopped the last time, let's get smart quick. Says, man, this is dope. Thanks for the link. I like this channel. It makes tax and accounting easy to keep it up. Yeah, thanks for the comment. You guys make it worth it for me to continue with these videos. Another one over there from Sarish Jane Rain. Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, thank you. Very informative. And I see that was in the starting a business, business structures to use in 2021. Yeah, that's a really cool video. I really enjoyed doing that one. Yeah, and it's always a nice topic to chat about. Desiree, I'll say, here's an interesting one. So I've watched the setup and would like to know how to do my VAT 201. My settings is on payment based. Let's quickly think about it. Because we work on a 60% deposit and then we have 10 working days for the manufacturers before we can do the job. I set aside 50% of the deposit and then 15% of the balance when it's paid. You said that in SA we only do invoice-based VAT. Some of my biggest clients have a 30 days and a 60-day payment term, and we do VAT bi-monthly. I do not have a cash flow to pay SARS VAT when I have not even received the money from the big clients. What do I do? Because Sage is duplicating the VAT on the invoice and the VAT on the receipt payment side. Just think, one thing that we just need to correct there, they say that if you trade as a sole proprietor, so if you register for VAT in your personal name, then you can still get away with VAT on the payment basis. But as soon as you are a registered company by law, you have to be registered or you have to account for VAT on the invoice basis. So they don't give you an option if you're a registered company, you must account for VAT on the invoice basis. And so that is where cash flow management is a little bit of a tricky thing that you've got to get right. Because the thing is, if you have to pay your SARS the day when you create the invoice, because that was what invoice-based means. That is the day that when you create the invoice, you're liable to pay the VAT over to SARS. But now the same rules apply to your suppliers as well. So if you had to buy on credit from your suppliers, let's say for instance, you buy whatever it is that in manufacturing and you get a 60-day account from your supplier, then those two things in theory should match each other out. Where there's normally a problem is if those two things doesn't match up. So if you invoice your clients, but you only get paid in 60 days time, where you have to pay your suppliers cash immediately, then you're going to run into cash flow problems. So I think the thing is, you got to get that balancing thing right so that you get your client terms and your supplier terms on days on the same terms, because then those two things will balance out. So you'll basically just end up paying VAT on the profit part that you're going to be making, you see. But that is always the risk or the issue with bigger type of clients. Then just want to quickly just correct something over here as well. So what do I do now? Because Sage is duplicating the VAT on the invoice and the VAT on the receipt amount. So that doesn't actually do that. You'll see that I'm just looking at the demo company over here, that if you receive money from a customer, so I'm just going to say whatever the customer is, and we say, for instance, we take this guy over here, and you'll see that this button, you can't do anything on that VAT button over there. So even if you put in that you received the 100,000 Rand, you see that there's no selection on the VAT itself. But the place where the VAT actually gets recorded is the day when you create the invoice. So if I go and create the invoice today, for whoever it is for, then you can see over there is where the VAT comes into play. So it's only once when you create the invoice that you have the VAT over there, and then obviously only the second time is when the client actually makes the payment. That is when there's no VAT on that transaction over there. So it's not like duplicating the VAT that you got to pay twice. It's only once the day when the invoice is created. The second time when the client pays, there's no VAT involved with that transaction over there. And then just the other thing that might be worth looking at as well is that if you, let's say for instance, you work on a situation where you work on big projects. I know some companies do that, where they do progress invoices on the progress that they made. So let's say for instance, you build a big building for somebody. So instead of you going straight up front and invoicing somebody 10 million Rand straight off the bat, and you've got to pay the receiver of revenue 1.5 million Rand output debt. So what the people would do is they would say maybe for part one, invoice 100,000 Rand for the foundations, and then or let's say 15,000 Rand for the VAT, and then in that month, once the foundation is finished, you only pay the VAT over on the foundation. The next part, if you start building the walls, then you can invoice the client, say, for instance, another 200,000 Rand or 300,000 Rand, and then once on that invoice, once they make the payment, then you pay the VAT over on that portion of the job as well. So that might also be an option to try and to rectify the timing issue between the payment and the invoicing as well. Yeah, so there's a little bit of homework that you got to do over there. Yeah, so just in short, Sage doesn't duplicate the VAT on the payment because you cannot do anything on the payment over there. Like I said, that block is grayed out. So the only time when there's actually VAT involved is the day when you create the invoice, then you can see over there it creates the VAT on the invoice itself. Yeah, so I think that answers that question. Let's quickly say, Alex, any way to find out if one is registered with SARS without alerting them? Just want to find out where I stand before moving forward. Don't want to open up Pandora's box. I agree with you fully. Unfortunately not. Normally, I mean, they've got, how many people in South Africa? Is it 52 million people that they deal with? So I think if you had to phone SARS and say, listen, I just want to quickly see what my tax status is. Even if you do have outstanding money or outstanding returns and stuff, the chances that they're going to start phoning you and come knocking on doors is very, very slim. Unless if you did something really, really bad that you owe SARS R1 million or something like that, then they're going to be really excited if you phone them. But I think in general terms, I don't think the risk is very big over there. Yeah, like I said, I did that other tax video as well of how to get a tax number with, to see what your tax number is. So if you go through that, there's an automated system, so there shouldn't be any risk involved to that. Yes, second question from you. So this is an interesting thing. Questions regarding SARS. Been living outside South Africa for 10 years now. Definitely passed the ordinary and the physical test requirement to be considered non-resident in South Africa. I have a permanent residency permit in Switzerland, and I've been paying taxes in Switzerland. Yeah, so I mean, you've been out the country for the long time. They talk about the double taxation agreement that you were talking about, and that you will never be returning to South Africa. What I would recommend is I did a talk. I opened it up over here where I spoke to guys from Tax Consulting SA. So they're quite a big tax consulting firm in Johannesburg. Just get past there. But you'll see I'm going to share this link with you over here. You'll check on my channel. It says Expat Tax Explained. So I did this talk with these two guys over here, with this guy Thomas and with this lady over here. And they specialize in expat tax. The thing is with that stuff, there's so many things that changes the whole time that for us, I don't deal with it on a daily basis. My recommendation would be to see if you can't make an appointment with one of these guys. They normally don't charge for their first consultation. So just send the guys an email, say you watch my video, you would like to set up an appointment with them. And then, like I say, you can then sit with these guys and explain to them the process and what the situation is. And they obviously going to be able to advise you the best of what the next space is going to be. And obviously with SARS bringing out these stupid rules and changing all these things, they are after money. So they know the people living out of South Africa, that left the country a couple of years ago, soft targets, so if they can go after them, they can very easily get some extra money out of this. So that's why I would recommend you get involved with those guys from Tax Consulting SA, so they can help you through the process and make sure that you tick all the boxes and that there's nothing left outstanding. And then the second one as well, a similar thing, we've got the house inside the trust. So I think that is also quite a specialized field. And while you've got the appointment with Thomas and those guys, then you can maybe have a chat to them about that as well. They're also going to be the best guys to advise you on that, because even trust as well is quite a specialized field. Bullion Mtsweni, SARS website is terrible. Information is all over the place. I think I'm going to give you a like over there, and then I'll put my commentary over there, but I agree with you fully. So SARS, I think any website, let's quickly see if I can just get to the normal SARS website itself. Yeah, the thing is with SARS, it's a bit of a work in progress, their website over there. So you can see they've got the thing for individuals, businesses, tax practitioners, customers, and excise. But the best thing that we normally do is you just hit that little thing over there, and then you start searching over there for what it is that you want to look for, you see. So there's so many things. Yeah, that's why obviously people end up watching YouTube videos and stuff to try and find the information that they need. Yeah, so I agree with you. It's not the best place to find information. Yeah, they should actually make it a bit easier to use. It's really not a great system that they've got. Mutandeki. Quick question. Open up a company, and if not, at any expenses or income, the only thing that I've done is a very small amounts of airtime to keep the bank account from blocking my account from inactivity. Do I still need to do a tax return for next year, as I'm comfortable waiting for my financial year end and just stick to making small fees just to keep the account active? And do I need to file taxes? And recommend a budget-friendly solution. So if you register a company, remember, as soon as you register, once a year, you have to file a return with SIPC. Those are the guys who registers the company. If you don't file those returns, they're going to start giving you penalties, and then eventually they'll probably end up deregistering the company for you. Then with the receipt of revenue, you need to file a company tax once a year as well. Even if that company is not trading, you must still submit that return. Otherwise, if there's that used to be that if there's more than 2 returns outstanding, that they would start penalizing the people. But now they started with individuals that if you've got 1 return outstanding, they start penalizing the people. So that is, I think, where the risk is that they're going to start penalizing you. See, so you're going to have to go through the process. I did that video about SARS e-filing representatives. So you're going to have to appoint yourself as the representative, get the company registered on e-filing, and then as soon as your financial year is finished, you're going to have to pull your report or formulate some type of a report. You're going to have to need a balance sheet and an income statement. Then you can attempt to do the company tax return yourself, but I would always recommend that you get an accountant to help you with it, because the thing is, if you fill in something wrong on those forms, then it opens up a can of worms, and SARS is going to be all over the place, and they're going to ask you lots of funny questions and stuff. So I would recommend that you maybe just get an accountant to help you with the company tax return itself. In terms of the Companies Act, they say that if a company, they've got a thing which they call a public interest score. So if that public interest score is low enough and it is owner-managed company, then in theory, you don't need to do financial statements. So you can do what they call internally compiled financial statements. So it's basically an income statement and a balance sheet, and then you can use that information from those 2 reports to submit your company tax return. So the advantage that you've got doing it that way is that you don't need to do the financial statements, and that is normally the expensive part. Most accountants will charge anything from 3,000 Rand up to 30,000 Rand to prepare a set of financial statements, where if you can bypass that system, then it means you only need to do a SIPC fee once a year, and then obviously the company tax return once a year. So you can probably, for both of those, depending on where you look around, you can probably get away between about 1,000 and 2,000 Rand a year for the administration to keep a company open. Yeah, like I said, that's just the estimate. Best to shop around a bit and see what you can get there. The end Witta. I'm inquiring on behalf of my daughter, as she does not know how to apply for online for UIF. First, you can apply for her online, or should I say on behalf of her to try as transfer? There's a problem for her to get to labor offices, and she's not clued up in the internet either. I think she's been unemployed for almost 2 years, and will she still be able to apply? So that's the thing. I think there's a limit. I think they only give you like 6 months time to do the application. So if you wait longer than that, or it used to be something like 6 months, then I don't think you're going to be able to apply for UIF. But there's something that you can do. You'll see if you could check on my website. I'm going to share this link for you. That you see, I did a whole talk on ways that you can claim UIF. And then there's a lady that helps me out, this Tanya lady. Maybe give her a call or submit the thing on the webpage over here, and then get in touch with her. Maybe just ask her the question, and just ask, that obviously what the situation is with your daughter and stuff, and whether you will be able to still claim the UIF. So I'm just going to drop that link in there for you as well, so that you can get the contact details. Alicia Skippers, very cool. Thank you. Thanks, Alicia. Thanks for the comment. Oh yes, your text number. Hope you came right. Hope you got your text number. That'll be cool. Michael Jones, can Sage be used to record homeowners association dues? Homeowners associations, I've worked with a couple in the past, and it's quite a tricky system to get going, because the thing is, you need to keep track of every single client separately, of what they're paying, what gets paid out to the client, and obviously what the fees are that's due. So because it's such a specialized type of a thing, I wouldn't recommend Sage as the first choice to do it. You can do it, but it is a bit tricky. There's a little bit of technical stuff that needs to happen in the background. Most of the guys that work with these type of stuff uses different platforms. You know, there are certain companies that write software that's specifically designed for homeowners associations, which makes it a lot easier. I know that I've got one client that's a estate agent, and I know that they use a platform that's created specifically for estate agents who are like with rental income, you know, collecting the rental and paying the rental back out again to the landlords. And obviously they give you all the audit reports and everything with it together. But it can be done. I've worked a little bit with it in the past, but it is a bit of a technical thing. And I think you can use Sage, but I think there's better programs to use than Sage for homeowners associations. I hope that answers your question. Monique Daniels, my mom domestic is registered, but not on new filing. My dad used to do this. We can't find the reference number, emailed and called various departments so we can update the details and do payments. Will registering her again help? I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to register a second time because obviously they pick it up on the ID number. I think where the issue lies is probably with you filing. So that is the system that you use to submit the UIF returns and to make the payment. So I think once again for you as well, Monique, the best thing would be to get hold of Tanya Bushma and see if she can't help you to get this thing sorted out. She's quite a maestro. I think she just does UIF work the whole time. So I think she's the person that you're going to have to speak to. Let me quickly see if I can drop that link in there for you as well. Then you can also go and check it out, get her contact details and get in touch with her. Yes, actually somebody, Jolyn Fernandez. I'm working for UIF as agent in online services. If you want any help, let me know. Yeah, cool. So I did mention it over here. So if you can maybe just send me an email, Fernandez or Jolyn, and then I can reach out to you, maybe get your contact details. And if there are people that really battle with UIF, I can always get you in touch with them. So next one, Naima Patel. How do I process a credit note for a supplier if the credit is only 360 Rand, while the invoiced amount was 1,800 Rand? Thank you. So I'm trying to understand the question nicely over here. And so it seems the invoice amount was 1,800 Rand, but the supply credit is only 360. So which means that if I read it correctly, it means that you probably created a supply invoice for 1,800 bucks, but the amount should have only been 360 Rand. So if you had to go to your supply invoices, and it depends, like in this case, we've got a list of supply invoices over here, and you want to reverse a portion of them. So if you take 1,800 minus 360, let's call it 1,440. So what you would do is over there, it's a little button that says create supply return. So you would hit that button over there. And it depends, like in this case over here, we only want to return a certain portion of it. So if you say that you want to return 4 of them, and not by 5, but only 4 of them, then that is the way that you're going to be doing it. It's just like that. You see, if that thing was set to account, then you would obviously just keep the account the same, and then you would just amend the amount to say that instead of 575, you only want to do 460, because now it will show that you only owe that guy the difference between the two amounts. I hope that answers your question. Because if we're talking about suppliers, then there's obviously supply invoices. So instead of 1,800, it must only be 360. So you'll do a supply return for the difference on the amount over there. See this here, Simongele LC Dube. Hello, I would like to know. I have a friend who has not been registered, but his UIF money they deduct every month. He's scared to contact the labor as he's seen some of the workmates been dismissed unfairly. Please help. I don't think that there's anything else that he can really do. The best would be to phone the Department of Labor. She does need to do it. She can ask a friend or somebody like that, and then they would obviously report that employer to the Department of Labor. The step after that is they would send them an email to say that they want to do a labor inspection. So then they would give them a list of things that they have to do, have to comply with. So they will obviously need copies of the pay slips. They want employment contracts. They want the UIF number, obviously with the payments of the UIF and stuff. We probably see those type of inspections at our offices. Maybe about every second month we get one of those inspections, and there's absolutely random. I think sometimes there are people that report people for that, and then they would get the notices. Otherwise, it would just be a random thing where they actually come and do inspections. So I don't think that they will pick it up to say that it's somebody specific that reported them. So you can just phone the Department of Labor, say, listen, this is the story, this is my friend, this is who they're working for. Or you can maybe even phone UIF and just find out whether they pick up anything on your ID number to see where you're working at the moment, you see. So that is also an option. Aneli, let's quickly see the SARS booking system. So I've made my booking in 15 minutes. I wasn't sure if they would call me, as they didn't last time. Granted, I hadn't submitted my documents last time, and they didn't call me an hour before the time either. Yeah, so I'm just not sure whether you came right with that appointment. Maybe just let me know if you came right again. Just put a comment in here just to know, and let me know whether you come right. But normally if you find the call center, if you've got the reference for that booking, then you can take them on and let them sort themselves out there. Vicky Dlamini, let's quickly see, e-filing, updating the representatives. I would like to know if it's possible to do this at SARS. If yes, what documents do I need to take with me? I know up to a while ago they were only doing online appointments, but I know that at the moment they are doing in-person appointments. So you can see over here they've got a page where it says contact us, branch appointment support and documents. So depending on what you want to do, they've got a list of different things that you want to, and that you need to take with. So let's say, for instance, you want to maintain your ID with them, then you can see on that link over there, here they tell you what you need to do. A copy of your ID, the original ID. If you're a minor, you see over here, if there's tax representative or tax practitioners involved. So they give you the list of all the supporting documents that you need. So I'm just going to do this as well. And then I will pop this into the description over there. So you can go check out. I'm not sure what you want to do at SARS, but that is the place where you would find the documents. Mr. White Noise, why does it show that I can't get my tax number? It shows that it is under a different email and the cell number. Yeah, so that is a problem. As I mentioned over there, if your tax number or if your contact details are the same, then they can get it immediately. If not, you're going to have to make an appointment with SARS first to update your details. You'll see this video that I did over there is how to make a booking on SARS. I actually talked about it there. But then one of the things over there is you're going to have to say that you want to maintain your contact details. And then only once they update your email and your telephone number, then you probably are going to be able to get your tax number straight from them as well. But if those details are wrong, so if somebody else used their email address and their telephone number when they registered you back then, and they've got the wrong number, then there's no way that they're going to give your tax number to you, unfortunately. Yeah, so you definitely going to have to make an appointment. But at least it's very insightful, awesome, man. Part 4. Oh, yes, there's my budgeting video. Sure. That free course. Now, I'm actually thinking this year, I actually want to write a full course because this is a part one part of, I think, of a 5-part finance course that we presented at our church. But this year, I'm actually in the process of writing my own finance course as well. If all goes well, it should probably be finished maybe, I'm aiming maybe for June, July. So keep an eye out on that because some of the material that I used in the budgeting course is what I'm going to be using on my course as well. So keep an eye on that. I think you're really going to be enjoyed. And I think Gino Abrams, yeah, I really enjoyed this comment. Say, I originally searched for video now to register representative, updating, with all information. So I really want to say thank you. Yeah, so this is cool. Yes. Yeah, I really enjoyed this thing. Oh, yeah, here's the rest of the way. So it's the first time that he sees somebody that actually goes and takes a little bit of time to answer some of the questions of their viewers. Yeah, I think it's really cool. Yeah, I like doing it. Yeah, thanks for your message. It really, really inspired me to keep on going with these type of things because it does take a bit of time and effort from our side as well to prepare these videos. And feedback like this is always lekker. I really enjoy it. There we go. Yeah, then I answered all the questions for now. Yeah, like I said, you guys must have a good month this month. Go out, make lots of money. If you guys need an accountant or a tax consultant, reach out to us. We can always help you if you need help with something. Yeah, keep on watching. I see I'm almost on the 6,000 subscriber mark. Just keep on watching the videos. We'll chat again soon. Okay, bye-bye.